The phone rang once. I didn't answer it. It rang again, longer this time, desperate. The kind of ring that doesn't stop unless something has already gone wrong. When I finally picked up, the woman on the other end didn't say hello. "Sir, you need to come to the school immediately." No details, just breathing. Too careful. By the time I arrived, the parking lot was sealed. Red and blue lights bounced off the brick walls like a warning pulse. 2 ambulances, 1 police cruiser. Teachers huddled together, whispering like they were afraid the building could hear them. I stepped out of my car and felt something detach inside me. The principal met me at the door. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was rehearsed. "Before you see your son," she said, "we need to ask, who prepares his lunch?" I didn't hesitate. My mother-in-law. That's when the police officer stepped forward. He didn't look at me like a suspect. He looked at me like a man about to be broken. "Sir," he said quietly, "we need you to see this first." He opened the lunchbox on the table. My hands started shaking before my brain caught up. Inside wasn't food. It was deliberate, careful. Hidden beneath a folded napkin was a small plastic vial. No label, clear liquid, and taped to the lid, so it wouldn't spill, was a handwritten note in neat, familiar cursive. For his immunity. I stared at it too long. Because I recognized the handwriting, I raised my eyes slowly. "Where's my son?" "He's stable," the officer said. "But we're running tests." Whatever that was, it wasn't accidental. The room felt smaller, hotter. I nodded. Calm. Too calm. Inside, something ancient and violent stretched awake. My mother-in-law had always been helpful. Too helpful. She insisted on cooking, on packing lunches, on staying late when my wife wasn't home. She said it was love. I believed her. That was my first mistake. The second came 3 months ago, when my son started getting sick. Small things. Nausea. Dizziness. Nosebleeds. Doctors blamed stress. Growth spurts. She blamed modern food. I watched her closely after that. The way she hovered. The way she corrected me when I packed his lunch. The way she smiled when he didn't eat what I made. And my wife? She never defended me. She just stayed quiet. Too quiet. That night, after the police finished their questions, I didn't go home. I went to my mother-in-law's house. I let myself in. The kitchen smelled sterile, cleaned too well. On the counter sat a notebook. Recipes, notes, measurements, chemical names written in the margins. I photographed everything. Then I found the emails. Not about my son, about my wife, about protecting her, about removing obstacles. I finally understood. This wasn't about food. This was about control. And my son was just leverage. I closed the notebook gently, carefully. Because by then I wasn't angry. I was focused, and I knew exactly what I was going to do next. I didn't confront her that night. That's what she would have expected. Instead, I went home and sat alone in the dark, replaying every interaction like surveillance footage. Every smile, every cup of tea she insisted I drink. Every time she corrected my parenting with that soft, poisonous patience. By morning, I had already spoken to a private lab. Hair samples, blood samples. Not just from my son, but from my wife. I needed to be precise. For 3 days, I played my role perfectly. Concerned husband, grateful son-in-law. I even thanked her for helping while my son recovered in the hospital. She squeezed my hand when I said it. Her palm was cold. The results arrived on the 4th day. My son had been slowly exposed to an immunosuppressive compound. Not lethal in small doses, just enough to weaken, enough to make him dependent on medication, enough to justify constant care. And my wife? She knew. Not from the beginning, but long enough to stop asking questions, long enough to accept the lies, long enough to let her mother decide what was best. I didn't raise my voice when I showed her the report. I laid it on the table between us. She broke, collapsed into sobs. Apologies stacked on excuses. Fear, guilt, love. She tried to use that word like a shield. I listened. Then I slid my phone across the table. On the screen was an email thread. Forwarded, time-stamped, sent to Child Services, to the police, to the hospital board. Her mother's words, her plans, her handwriting. I already sent everything, I said quietly. Before I came home, she stopped crying. That was the moment she realized there was no version of this where she was forgiven. The arrest happened 2 days later. No screaming, no resistance. My mother-in-law looked at me as they led her away. Not with hatred, with disbelief. She thought she was smarter than me. She thought silence meant weakness. I got full custody. My wife didn't fight it. She couldn't. Every document told the same story. She chose comfort over protection, silence over action. I moved. New city, new routines, new locks. Sometimes my son asks why Grandma doesn't visit anymore. I tell him she made bad choices. I don't tell him she almost took his life to keep control of ours. That truth is mine to carry. At night, when the house is quiet, I think about how close I came to missing it. How betrayal doesn't always arrive screaming. Sometimes it packs a lunchbox. Sometimes it smiles. And sometimes, the most dangerous people are the ones who swear they love you. I don't feel anger anymore, just clarity. And that's worse for them, because I survived. And they lost everything.